I have wounds from childhood, no question. There are things that happened in the early years that still affect me to this day. And when I am in the presence of my family of origin, those wounds can be scratched on the surface, and the wound is open. And I have to remember this when I go near my family. I have to remember when I'm walking into family of origin situations, I need to know what to expect. I need to, remind myself what my boundaries are. I need to listen to my limits. I need to listen to my feelings. Love is a battlefield. I have to, I love my family and they're a part of my life, but I go in cautiously. I have to arm myself. I have to prepare and maybe have an exit plan. And also because I'm fragile in those situations, I have to listen to myself in a way that maybe it's time to go. Maybe it's okay if I go. Maybe I'm going to take things a little bit more personally in this situation. Like, I have to be aware of myself, that I'm sensitive in those situations as well. And that maybe I'm not taking things the way that they are, like the reality that it is. So I know that I can be triggered emotionally, and I know I can be a bit more reactive when I am near my family of origin. And I think that it's really good for me to remember that when going into situations with my family of origin. Now, I am in recovery, and I did come from addiction, and now I'm in recovery for relationship work. And I have one of my family members, as you know, is in active alcohol addiction. And we both went into treatment at the same time. When I stayed in, he went out. And what a difference in a way. I think this is it's tough. It's hard to watch. It's hard to be around and be near. But because of my own work and my own recovery and learning to keep myself safe, learning to, just my own self-worth, self-esteem growth, just my own work, I'm actually able to be near family origin but with more caution. And I'm still learning to try not to take things personally. And, it's tough, and I actually work on these things, and it's still tough. Like, I'm not immune, to reacting. Like, sometimes I'm going to react. And my family of origin is going to show me where some other wounds I have are. And those wounds can almost be scratched more easily near my family of origin. When I have a trigger, that is a gift of healing. That is showing me something in myself that I have to do work on. It's not, oh, I can't believe you did that, you triggered me. It's that I have a trigger. But I can look at that as a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I get the choice to look at that as a place that I can do some work and do some healing. So my mindset's changed in that sense about my triggers, as not that others are doing something to me, but that I have something inside that still needs attention, that still needs some work to be done. So going back to my brother who's in active addiction, and to me, I see a suffering person. I see a lonely person. I see someone that probably doesn't want to live that way, but is stuck there because maybe their ego says that it is great and they don't need anyone. Like, classic counter-dependent, self-sufficient, doesn't need anyone, total tough guy. Like, can't say anything, nothing goes in because they already know everything and they don't need anyone. And, they think feelings are weak. So my brother, we're at the dinner table. So this is how I work my recovery. And this is a story about how what's my part and how I work recovery in my life. And I'm going to show you all those emotions, thoughts, and actions of how this whole thing went. So my baby is sleeping in the other room. My other boys are around the dinner table and there's noise. And so as an overstimulated mother, my window of tolerance is shorter. It's definitely getting shorter as the day goes on. And my window of tolerance pretty much it just gets closer and closer to bedtime. Near like that whole 5, 6, 7 is like, those are like my witching hours. Like those are the hours where it is the hardest for me to do my job, to get everybody fed and in bed after school and everyone's needs. It's a high demand time. And it's already been a whole day. So that's part of my part. I could have been a bit more aware of that at this particular dinner time. But I go into this family dinner and I'm, short fused, and my kids are being loud. So I was trying to get them to be like quieter at the dinner table. And then my brother is in the middle of one of his stories. And I mean, every time we go to dinner, it's the me show. Like we go there to listen to him. And that seems a bit dysfunctional. But I think for some reason, families always circle around the sickest person. Like, it's like everyone just is scared to say anything and do anything. Everyone just lets that person go. And it makes sense because there's nothing that could ever be said to that person. Like, there's no other side to any story with that person that is the sickest. And I think they can only see it for themselves when they want to see it. So I think that's why we all are a bit submissive to how he wants to lead the dinner, the family dinner. And I think everybody just like lets him do his thing. And so we're in that situation. And anyways, he is having a story. He's doing a story and he's saying a story and he bangs his fist on the table. And I don't do well with loud noises on a good day. So he bangs on the table and it's loud, it's unnecessary. And he's a big like construction dude. And he does that and I freak out at him. So I interrupt and I blast at him. I'm like, hey, like the baby's sleeping. And I think like my fault for reacting. Like I had a total reaction and like right at him. And so he reacted now. This is family of origin. And he gets all mad at me. And then I'm like, and then now we're in a fight. And he's like, after a little while, I know, I have my other son beside me and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to have to do something here. My children are watching. And as much as I'd like to continue to fight with this person, I start to get my mind back on track. And my father is, my brother's upset now and he's angry. And he starts going into the whole black and white thinking, which is like super common for like alcoholics that are still in active addiction or people that haven't done that work, like that inner wound work that maybe they are sober, but that black and white thinking is a marker for something. Like it really shows where someone's at in certain, maybe like maturity or emotional intelligence or like recovery, and I say that for someone who's trying to be healthy and wants to stay away from these, this is a red flag. Like black and white thinking is like total red flag. So he's like, he gets so upset that I said be quiet and that he goes, forget it. I just won't even talk anymore. Like, I don't even, whatever. And then he just starts being quiet for the rest of the dinner. And I could tell my other little son was getting uncomfortable. And I said, hey, it's okay. This is just like silly adult stuff. And then my father's giving the old, like, do something. Like, and so I felt called to do the uncomfortable, which was apologize to him, to show that I can apologize, to show my son what apology looks like, to show that ownership. And I really didn't want to do that. But I said, I'm sorry that I scared you, and I didn't mean to yell at you like that. And he said, he gets back up like, yeah, well, that was rude. And you're rude. And gets, and I'm kind of like, okay. And it doesn't really go anywhere. So what old me would have done would have been defend myself for that I'm not rude. And what I was trying to do was apologize for the behavior of interrupting at someone and in anger. Like I interrupted him with aggression. And so that's quite startling. And I do agree that is rude. But I'm not a rude person. I did a rude thing. So I think that's also like where that separation of like, having some healthy guilt, making sure that I don't dive into my shame and then start thinking because I did something bad, that I am bad. So I was able to not take that on as I'm bad now because this person thinks I'm rude because I did a rude thing. I was able to just sort of like accept the comment and say, okay, but I didn't agree that I'm not a rude person. I'm doing my part I didn't want it to continue on anymore. I wanted to say sorry because that's what I should do. And I am sorry for scaring him. And he said, I'm not scared. And to me, I thought like, what would a healthy situation look like if, say, I did the thing that caused the reaction? So my reaction caused a reaction. If that other person was healthy, their response, not a reaction, would have been, I forgot the baby's sleeping. No problem. Hey, I don't appreciate being interrupted, but I understand that there's other people around. Like that might have been a bit more of a healthier response than having two people in a reactive state. Now, more to my story is that family of origin, not everybody's healthy. I have to remember the kind of environment that I'm entering. I chose to be in that environment. And I have to remember that not everybody's healthy. And how do I protect myself and take care of myself in that environment? Did I go on and tell my brother like, hey, you're so disrespectful, and don't you see that I'm trying to eat and I'm a single mom and I have 4 kids, and don't you see that how difficult it is for me that I can't even have my dinner sometimes? Like I'm here just trying to, like, don't you see? Like I could have went all into that to my brother, but that wouldn't have made him have compassion for me. That wouldn't have made him get outside of himself. That wouldn't have all of a sudden made him not a selfish person anymore. That wouldn't have changed him or anything at all if I did that. Instead, as a person that's working in recovery, as I work my recovery, I just cut my losses for that whole transaction at dinner time. I could be a little bit more careful. Like I probably should put my child upstairs for dinner time if I really want to have 20 minutes to eat. I could have done that. I don't have to go to as many dinners where my brother is there. I might have not had the capacity to sit through that dinner that day. Maybe I could have just had my dinner in the TV room and by myself with my kids over there. Like maybe I needed to figure out that I needed a break sooner. Like maybe I wouldn't have had that reaction if I was, maybe it was like I had gone past my own limit for myself. Like thinking that I'm okay, but I'm not okay. So this was a way for me to wake up and remember that my brother is the way that my brother is, and I could pray for him, and I could minimize some of the exposure that I have around that person because of that person's health. Can I change their health? Can I make them aware? Can I make them considerate? Not at all. Can I make them it's impossible. That he could not see any other way, just that I hurt him. And then he just fought back with saying not very nice things to me after. Normally I would have taken those things on and defended myself. But this time, I did one good thing is that I didn't react back after. I saw that I was like, oh, okay, we're going down this path. I could have kept reacting back and we could have just had this meaningless fight. But I was able to slow down and stop. And I did do my effort of saying I'm sorry, but I don't even think it was received. And that's alcoholism is it's hard to receive when you're in that. It's hard to see that there's other realities except for your own. It's hard to see that there's anyone else in the world that exists besides yourself. You're so in your own stuff and isolated, and if he was a really healthy person, I don't think it wouldn't have been a big deal. But this is alcoholism. This is thin layered stuff. And what I am reminded of is just that it's easy to get hurt in those situations if I'm not a bit more careful and mindful that the situation might go awry. So I think the next time I'm in that situation, I might take a break for a little while, but I just need to let that person have the floor all the time because that's the way they are. And that's a really hard pill to swallow, because it's well, wouldn't it be nice if other people could talk? But if I want healthier relationships or healthier conversations, I have to go to where that health is. I can't go to where there's unhealthiness and expect healthy. So that's a huge thing in recovery. And I have to remind myself that I can't expect that healthiness to be there with unhealthy people, with unawareness, with unpredictability, with active addiction. That is active addiction. And I gotta check myself, how am I receiving the whole situation here? How am I interpreting this? Am I interpreting this through an emotional tunnel? Or, am I cool right now? Am I regulated? Am I clear? And am I taking stuff on that's not my stuff? So I think that I had a bad reaction, and I didn't want to scare anyone or hurt anyone. But I think that my brother was very hurt in that situation. That's why he went back. So that's family of origin. I just have to be a little bit more protective of myself and know what I'm going into. That is my responsibility. So thank you for being here. And I'll see you at the next one. Okay, bye.